Hello everybody. In continuation of the discussion on words to vector, today we will be diving a little deeper into a combination of words and terms, and then finding out how the context of the surrounding words would help you in terms of understanding the meaning. So, we are going towards that path slowly from words, finding the frequencies, and then finding the inverse document frequency, and then doing some kind of an empirical analysis on the corpus, and finally trying to in the last class trying to define how we can convert the documents into a term document matrix, and how we can convert the words into word vectors, document vectors, and how we can represent them in the vector space and so on. Okay. In continuation of that, we are going to be talking about the co-occurrences of words. You remember earlier we were only worried about a single word and trying to find out some statistics about that, and then using the data that's available in the corpus, we are doing some operations with respect to the corpus in terms of identifying the similar documents, extracting named entities, and so on and so forth. Right. In this class, we will be talking about the occurrences of words together in a sentence and how we can exploit those occurrences, and then we will see how those contextual understanding of the text would be done by using multiple words together, and then we will talk about how to create a co-occurrence matrix. We will talk about unigram, bigrams, and trigrams or n-grams, and then we will see how we can create semantically connected vectors using dense vector formation, using one of the techniques from singular value decomposition. Okay. Let us go to the next slide. This is a very important code that we need to remember. This is very profound with respect to the linguistic analysis of the corpus, as well as for all those who work on the natural language processing. In 1957, first a British linguist made a profound statement saying that you shall know a word by the company it keeps, meaning that it is very easy to understand the meaning of the word if you know what the context is, right. So, it is possible for you to know some of the words that you do not know while reading a novel or a book, but if you go back and then read the sentence again, you probably would make up the meaning for a given word and then later go into the dictionary to find that it is almost similar to what you thought about that, right. So, this is really a very interesting and profound statement that created a flurry of activities from the linguistic community, as well linguists community, as well as from the NLP community. Okay. So, what this means? This means the study of the meaning and context should be central to linguistics. It is not possible for you to just know the word alone and then trying to make some sense out of that. So, you need to really understand the context, so it is easy for you to study the meaning of the word in different contexts and so on. And then we also want to see how those contexts can be exploited in terms of understanding the meaning of the word. So, the central to the entire exercise of natural language processing, I have mentioned earlier as well, is to really understand the meaning of the word by looking at the large corpus and trying to figure out what could be the meaning or different meanings that a particular word may have. Okay. There could be some pattern that you will see in the corpus that also would help you in terms of understanding the phrases. The collocations give you enough clue to really understand the meaning of the word. So, it is not possible for you to understand the meaning of the word by just looking at only the dictionary. So, you may have to look at the context surrounded by the word and so on. So, the last part of that emphasizes that no study of meaning apart from context can be taken very seriously. So, again going back to what Firth mentioned, you shall know a word by the company it keeps. So, please remember this throughout this lecture. Okay. So, let us now look at the word bank, right. So, bank means so many different things. So, if you go and then look at the thesaurus, it will give you different flavors of bank. So, one would be, it is a sloping land which is by the side of the river, right. And then the second meaning could be related to the financial institute. A bank is a financial institution that accepts deposits and so on. And then if you go down, you look at the last one. If you look at it, it's you have some confidence or faith in something, right. So, you bank on something. So, that is another meaning. So, if you look at the variations of the meaning of bank, all could be derived by the context it is surrounded by. So, it is important for us to know where this word is used, important to know what are all the words to the left and right of that bank, in order for you to really understand the meaning of that. Let us take one more example for the word program, right. So, if you are a computer science student, you will definitely know that program means is a sequence of instruction. That is the first thing that will come into your mind, right. But that is not the only meaning that you have several meanings. It could be related to a system of projects or services intended to meet some public need. Okay. It could be a radio or a television show. Okay. So, it could be a document stating the aims and principles of a political party. It is a program of a political party, correct. So, the last one is what I mentioned, write a computer program. All the meanings of the word program could be understood only when you understand the entire sentence, or if you look at the context word surrounding program, you should be able to understand the meaning of the word. So, it is very important for the data model based approach in NLP to really know the context surrounding a word. For you to translate, you need to know the context surrounding that particular word. So, in order for you to generate a text or a sentence automatically, you need to understand the context in which this word is going to be used. If you look at another example where we are listing only the synonyms, for example, if you take the word small, there are several synonyms associated with that, right. A small could be little, minor, modest, small, small scale, and so on and so forth. So, all mean the same thing. So, in order for us to really represent this particular synonym in our vector space, we probably would like to use only one axis rather than multiple axes with respect to all the synonyms. So, we really have to not only understand the context surrounding the word, we also need to understand the synonyms for the given word in order for us to really reduce the vector space on which we would like to operate on. Okay. So, in order to understand the word and its meaning, it is not enough if we consider only the individual word. I spoke about this at length earlier. The meaning and context should be central to the understanding word or text, right. Exploit the context dependent nature of the word. So, we need to really understand under which context these words are used, and then similar context, if the similar words would use similar context is another example that we need to remember, or another statement that we need to remember. Language patterns cannot be accounted for in terms of a single system. So, we need to be able to look at various aspects in terms of understanding the patterns. So, it is important for us to define these term collocations. That means a particular word consistently co-occurs with other word, gives enough clue to understand a word and its meaning, and this particular pattern does not occur by chance. So, it has happened several times. So, we should be able to really make some sense out of those patterns and then make use of that in our NLP applications. Okay. To give you another flavor of this, right. So, how these synonyms could be used and found in the data driven approach. Let us take one example sentence. The view from the top of the mountain was awesome, breathtaking, amazing, stunning, astounding, astonishing, awe inspiring, extraordinary, incredible, unbelievable, magnificent, wonderful, spectacular, remarkable, right. So, you can use any of these words in this context and they mean the same, isn't it. So, suppose if we had received a corpus that talks about the mountain, the valleys, the views from the top, the view of the valley from the top and so on, and if that corpus was written by so many other authors, you will find that somewhat similar occurrences of this particular sentence by every author, right. Supposing if you are only looking at the positive aspects or the positive sentiments from the corpus, you would see that one author would have written the view from the top of the mountain was awe inspiring. One author would have written that the view from the top of the mountain was remarkable. One could have written the view from the top of the mountain was breathtaking. So, now you get the sense of this, right. So, this context that you are talking about is on the left side and then the words are on the right side. So, if you are using a similar context and there are several words that are used for the similar context, that means we are going to be looking at the synonyms of a given word. So, when you look at this particular example, you should be able to pick up various other words as similar words. That means given a similar context or given a context, and if the words occur in that particular context, that means those words are synonym. This is one thing that we need to remember in the data driven approach. So, this is not going to happen by a chance, this is going to happen by the count of occurrences of a given word with the given context. So, this is what we are going to be exploiting in our data driven approach.